Looks like we're... Sorry, I cannot talk. Looks like we're live. Hello there, everybody out there in the world. I am DokDeino, or DokDeino for short. I'm a paleontologist currently doing some field work out in the Badlands of Wyoming, and this is a rather special stream. We're going to wait for some more people to funnel in before we get really started, but I do have some very exciting announcements, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun. Now, as is stated by the title up there above, well, actually below my head on YouTube, it's above my head on StreamYards. This is a stream for fundraising for fieldwork out here in Wyoming. I've been a part of some pretty big discoveries out here, and I'm really excited to tell y'all all about them. And I can't share every detail, sadly, but there is a lot that I can share, and a lot that I'm very excited to share. So I hope y'all are excited too. Found quite a few dinos. I can already see Caden Slinker and Al Trucker in the chat. Howdy, howdy, folks. Hope y'all are doing well. And well, I guess we can get a little something on screen right now. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna move this around so it's not taking up all of my screen space. But so you all can still see it. Alrighty. I do hope that everyone is doing well out there. It's a rather frigid evening out here in Wyoming, at least for me. Oh, is your house somewhere in here, Al? Don't dox yourself. Oh, what's that down here? Huh. A lot brighter than usual from what I remember, but that's interesting. Anywho, I suppose we can probably get started. So once again, hello there, everybody. I am DokDeino, or DokDeino for short, and before anyone asks, no, I am not an actual doctor. I am a paleontologist with a bachelor's degree doing field work out in Wyoming. And it's been quite a journey to get out here. Earlier this year, thanks to some very kind friends, including many of you, I managed to raise enough money to move out here and follow my dreams and start hunting for dinosaurs. And hunt for dinosaurs, I have quite a bit. I first came out here 6-7 months ago, and since then, I've helped find or have found myself dozens of individual dinosaurs. And I would like to show you guys some of those today, as they pertain to the reason why I'm hosting another fundraiser. So, before we get to the dinosaurs, we should probably get to where I'm finding them. So, for those who aren't aware, this is the United States, and Canada, and Mexico. It's North America. And during the time of the dinosaurs, the Mesozoic, North America looked quite a bit different than it does today. Sea levels were much higher for most of the Mesozoic, especially during the early Cretaceous, which is what we'll be focusing on for the most part today. Because sea levels were so much higher, much of North America was blanketed with a shallow inland sea. And by shallow, I mean it would have been about 50 to 500 meters, I believe, is at its deepest. So pretty shallow, especially for a big body of water. That's shallower than than most of the Great Lakes. And on the coasts of this inland sea lived dinosaurs. Quite a few of them. Coastal communities were and still are quite productive in terms of animal and plant life. And actually, it's interesting. The course of the inland sea during the early Cretaceous more or less followed this line here from Texas up to, I believe, up around here, up where the US-Canada border is. And it also stretched from Florida around the Appalachians to connect back up there. So thousands and thousands of square miles or square kilometers. That was before sea levels slowly dropped and the Rocky Mountains formed, which actually pushed up most of the interior of North America, meaning that even if sea levels rose once again, it would probably still mostly be dry. Sadly, no more 50-foot lizards patrolling the oceans, but that's a story for another day. Anywho, up on the northern part of the western coast, there's an area that would border or be part of what is modern-day Wyoming. If I go ahead and... where's the borders? There we go. Modern-day Wyoming. And in particular is this sort of horseshoe-shaped area that we now call the Bighorn Basin. The Bighorn Basin is a low area surrounded by 3 mountain ranges. The Bighorn Mountains to the east, the Wind River Mountains to the south, and the Absaroka Mountains to the west. And it is also quite nearby Yellowstone. Oh, and thank you, Vamsy Jessica Amanda, for becoming a member. Thank you very much. Anyway, as the Rocky Mountains formed, it pushed up a whole bunch of mountains and also created many large valleys like the Bighorn Basin. And in more recent millions of years, a lot of this area has been carved out by a bunch of big rivers, most of them fed by snowmelt from the mountains. And this has led to massive exposures of dinosaur age rock. So there's material in here from the end of the Cretaceous all the way to the beginning of the Triassic. Quite a big range. And in the area where I've been working, for the most part, up around here, it's mostly Cretaceous and Jurassic. And I've mainly been focusing on the early Cretaceous. Now, for those who don't know, my full title here on YouTube is Dr. Deinonychus, after a raptor dinosaur that was first discovered quite near here, actually up in southern Montana. But since its initial discovery, many were found in this immediate area. Deinonychus is an extremely important dinosaur. It's arguably the most important dinosaur for establishing the link between birds and dinosaurs. And I might have found a couple of them while I was out here myself. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Anywho, I came out here a few months ago, and I was poking around in the Jurassic rock up here until I started to kind of spread out in more recent months. And while poking around in a rock formation called the Cloverleaf Formation, I started finding a lot of bones. And I do mean a lot. And unfortunately, I cannot show you guys where I have been finding these bones, because I might be part of it. Well, I am part of a team that will be excavating many of them in the coming months and over the course of the next year or two. And I am so incredibly excited to be able to say that. Anywho, I've kept y'all waiting long enough. Who wants to see some dinosaurs? Well, actually, first, I would like to show you the thumbnail for this stream. Yeah, I have to... the way my video software works, I have to cancel a screen share to start a new one. So this is a shot from some hills surrounding my dig site. Once again, this is in north central Wyoming, and this is a shot of some rocks from the Cloverleaf Formation. The Cloverleaf Formation was deposited between 108 and 113 million years ago on the shores of the Western Interior Seaway, before the seaway once again rose and covered it, and then we have ocean sediments for a while. It's a complicated mess. But at least for this time period, the land was above water, and so there were lots of dinosaurs here. And I do mean lots. At my main site of interest, I have found quite literally dozens of dinosaurs. And I am going to be showing them all to you. Well, I'm going to be showing you what dinosaurs I found, not the specific dinosaurs I found, piece by piece, using a piece of media, which, if you're familiar with my channel, you're familiar with Jurassic World Evolution. I'm going to be showing you the fossils I found, and then showing you the dinosaurs that these fossils would have belonged to. Before that, though, well, oh, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and get started. So, starting up here, these are some bones that belong to a dinosaur that I call the Jerkysaurus, as in beef jerky saurus. These big big flat chunks of bone, I'm not certain what they belong to yet, but they are really weird, and the texture when you touch them feels just like beef jerky. Sometimes bones get preserved really weirdly. Really, really weirdly. Okie doke. Oh, and for some reason all the pictures are very much moved out. Then here, now this is kind of hard to see, especially since my computer is not wanting to listen to me. But this is part of the hip bone, or part of the hip of an armored dinosaur called Sauropelta. Sauropelta is a beautiful little dinosaur that, unfortunately, is a little annoying to me. But it's not its fault. I've just found way too many of them. At my main site, I have found at least 8 of these Sauropelta, possibly more. And they are covered in hundreds of little armored spikes that hurt your butt to sit on. And I'm saying that from personal experience. So let me go ahead and show you all what these dinosaurs would have looked like in life. Pelta. Here we are. And let's go ahead and get some random colors. And sorry, the way this game works, I have to reset things every now and then. Sauropelta. There we are. Oh, and you know, I might as well put this up here. If you like any of the dinosaurs that are shown on screen enough to name them. Now, this is just in the game, not the fossils themselves. But if you like any of the dinosaurs that pop out here enough, you can name them. And also, I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat. And if any of y'all want to pop on and ask some dino questions, I'm happy to answer them. I think that could be quite a bit of fun. So let me go ahead and post this. If you want to join, you just click that link there. It'll take you to a studio, and I can let you in. And again, feel free to pop on in, ask any questions you like about dinosaurs, rocks, the fossil record. Let's just have some fun tonight. Anywho, looks like these guys are ready, so we'll go ahead and let them out. Once again, these are Sauropelta edwardsorum. Its name translates to the armored lizard. Well, the armored lizard named after the Edwards family. Sauropelta is a medium-sized ankylosaur dinosaur from the Cloverleaf Formation. And as you can see, they're covered in just a pavement of armored scutes. And then they're adorned with some rather nasty-looking spikes on their shoulders and on their neck that would have helped to protect them from their predators. And I have actually found a few of these spikes. I do have a picture here, actually, I can show if my computer will cooperate. Here we go. So, once again, take a look at those big spikes on the shoulders and neck. And then here are a bunch of fragments of Sauropelta that I have found in the field. These are at my main site. So over here, we have a fragment of one of those big old shoulder spikes. Here, we have a part of the scapula, the shoulder blade that you and I have back here. And there's a whole bunch of other little chunks of bone in here. Unfortunately, dinosaurs don't always stay together the best. Sometimes they fall apart, and it requires a lot of careful work to piece them back together. But this spike was identifiable enough, and there were a few other bits of armor with this skeleton to denote it as a Sauropelta. Now then, our next dino of the evening is a little more infamous. And I do mean infamous. Once again, the game we are using to show these dinosaurs in the flesh is Jurassic World Evolution 2. And if you're familiar with the Jurassic Park series at all, then there's a certain small meat-eating dinosaur that you're probably very familiar with. Let's go ahead and make a few of those. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll stop the screen share for just a moment. And then share again. This is Deinonychus antiropus, the terrible claw with a counterbalancing tail. And yes, that translation is as wordy as was originally intended. Once again, this is one of the most important dinosaurs of all time. And I'm just going to real quick focus on one that isn't a bright pink. Deinonychus here is a very important dinosaur, both to me personally and to the paleontological community at large. And the bones I just showed you, which I will go ahead and put up again, are part of the tail vertebrae and some fragments of the hips, actually, are also in here. But if you're not too familiar with dinosaurs, you probably won't recognize this animal just from this alone. But there is something that anyone can recognize. I think everybody knows what this claw is and what it belongs to. Oh, and Vanzi and Jessica Amanda have just sent a super sticker. Thank you very much. So I believe with the membership, that puts us at about $21 total. So I will just once again say, folks, if you want to help support my fieldwork, because fieldwork takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, and I already have a day job. So if I want to do more fieldwork, which I really do want to do, fundraisers like this can help ensure that I can go out and dig up these dinosaurs, observe them, and not have to worry as much about my finances. So thank you again, Vamsy, Jessica, Amanda. And hello, Caden. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
So, you mentioned earlier about some weird flat-looking bones?
Yes. The sort of squished looking bones.
Yeah. I was thinking perhaps this could have been part of, like, the shoulder blade. Like, if you look in dinosaur
Here, I can pull
skeletons, the
them.
shoulder blade is kind of, like, flat and curved.
So I will say that's a pretty good guess. That's a pretty good guess, but I don't think that's what these are. Based on their structure, to me, they look like they're transverse processes, which that's a big word, so I'll pull up a diagram. Diagram. So your vertebrae are made up of, or have a bunch of different sections, and I think that those flat edges are what are called transverse processes. And
Ah.
unfortunately, this image is low quality, so the words are blurry. But this is the transverse process. It's a
So
side
the
bit
thing
sticking
that
up the
sticks out to
vertebra
the
that's used
side,
for,
sort of?
yeah, off to the side. They're mostly muscle attachment points. For dinosaurs, they're actually really important and they're really big because their leg muscles go back up into the tail. So, but that's just my current hypothesis for what these are. I've only found fragments of this particular skeleton, and I'm very curious to see what else is in there. But it's kind of buried. But it is really well preserved, and a shoulder blade is a pretty good guess. Let's see. I just had a picture of a shoulder blade up here. I can find it again. Here we go. It's not very zoomed in, but this bone over here is part of a sauropelta shoulder blade. Yeah. Again, though, good guess.
Okay.
Now I'll go ahead and put the Deinonychus back up on screen because I like them and they're fun.
Deinonychus, aka what the Jurassic Park raptors are based on.
Yes, I was going to get into that. Like Caden just said, this is the Jurassic Park raptor. It's smaller, or sorry, in the movies, it is much larger than it really should be. That's from a combination of factors. Oh, this one got angry that this one was drinking.
He's like,
so I love that they have little interactions in this game. But Deinonychus was first discovered in the 1960s by John Ostrom, a very important figure in paleontology. The real animal is about 10 to 12 feet long, would have been about 3 to 4 feet high at the hip, and probably would have weighed somewhere between 100 and 200 pounds, which puts it at about the same size as a large gray wolf. And they, if anything, they would have been even more dangerous. Sorry, I love how they play with each other.
Are like the red colored ones male?
The colors are randomly chosen. Some of them just turned out to be hot pink. That said, if anyone does want to name a hot pink raptor, feel free.
Let's name one of them's definitely Chibiusa.
I know that's a reference to something, but I don't know what to.
Take a hint. It's the one who fights evil by moonlight.
Okay, Sailor Moon.
Yes.
It's
a hot pink Deinonychus.
Yeah. Anyway, very important hot pink dinosaur. When Michael Crichton was writing Jurassic Park, he wanted a really interesting antagonist. Dinosaur movies have always used like T-Rex or Allosaurus, big meat-eating dinosaurs.
Or Ceratosaurus sometimes.
Yep. And Michael Crichton wanted to include the big guys too. But he knew that they would have trouble fitting in buildings. And Michael Crichton, loving his sci-fi horror, wanted something that could chase people through a hallway or through a vent. So he chose a fairly recently described dinosaur, Deinonychus, which again, size of a gray wolf. Yeah, that could chase you through a building. That's pretty terrifying.
If I remember correct, the reason they were called velociraptors because I can't remember, but there was this guy who
I do remember
reclassified, like had this weird theory that like Deinonychus was a older species of velociraptor, but I don't remember his name.
So you're talking about Gregory S. Paul. Gregory S. Paul, or GSP, as a lot of paleontologists know him, is a very good artist. I just want to say right off the bat, he's an incredible artist. His work has been extremely influential to paleontology and paleo art in general. But he does have some ideas that he puts in his publications, specifically his books, that aren't super well supported. They're just kind of feelings he has, and sometimes they're right, most of the time they're wrong. In a particular book from the late 80s, Predatory Dinosaurs of the World, he decided that Deinonychus and Velociraptor looked similar enough that they could be the same dinosaur. And Predatory Dinosaurs of the World was what Michael Crichton was using as reference material for his dinosaurs. No. Because for the time, it was one of the most up-to-date science, like one of the most up-to-date books about what they looked like and how they acted that was available to the public. But it just so happened that Deinonychus was called Velociraptor in there. And to Michael Crichton's credit, he didn't name... So the raptors in the books actually have a full genus and species name. He calls them Velociraptor anteropus. Kind of like a nod to this really being Deinonychus.
But if I remember correctly from the book, he like gave them like the features of Velociraptor mongoliensis.
No, the book raptors are pretty good for an early 90s Deinonychus reconstruction.
Really?
They are, except that they're too big.
Crichton. I think Michael Crichton gave his oversized velociraptors, which were Deinonychus velociraptor heads.
Well, to be fair, for a very long time, we haven't had a good idea of what Deinonychus's head looked like. So, actually, this head right here is sort of a more modern rendition of how the head would have looked. There have been other renditions that are really high in the back of the head and really stocky. And unfortunately, it's because we have a lot of material of the back of the head and we have some material of the front of the head, but we don't have much of this part of the head.
Ooh.
So we've just kind of had to reconstruct how long we think the head is and how deep we think the head is.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
I mean, it's paleontology. You can only really work with what bones you have.
Also, this one looks like the tiger stripe raptors from the Lost World.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. Yep, yeah, it is. Which, yeah, fun fact, did you know that the Lost World raptors are sexually dimorphic?
Mm-hmm.
The males and females look different. Oh, and these guys need food. Whoops. I completely forgot to give them food. I'm a great zookeeper. How are the sauropelta doing?
Well, the sauropelta
they're
are
hungry
just
too.
eating the trees.
Yeah. Well, you know, the herbivores won't starve. They'll be fine. They'll just be hungry.
The dinosaur that connected the
oh no, never mind. They are starving.
Dinosaurs to birds, and the dinosaur that makes creationists cringe.
Deinonychus? Yes, yes, very much so. And I'm just going to go ahead and give these guys some food so they hopefully don't die, and a little bit of water.
Also, why do they keep crediting Alan Fiducia when he still believes birds evolved? He just believes they evolved from a different group of archosaurs.
Because young Earth creationists love to cherry pick. But this is a stream about a bit of science. So, not creationism.
We have
That's pretty.
That is a blonde one.
Yeah. Let's see. Where was I going to go next? So yeah, the history of Deinonychus, a very important dinosaur, very cool dinosaur, and I have found at least one. I might have found several, actually. This right here is the killing claw. This is the big old claw on the foot.
The ungule.
Yep, ungule would be the proper term. And this claw I found is actually in really, really good shape. There are even like little scratches on the bone from where the keratin would have attached to the bone, the nail on the claw. The muscle attachment points are perfect. All it's missing is the very tip, which unfortunately is pretty fragile.
Kind of like the tip of your fingernail.
Yeah, it pretty much exactly like that. And I'll just show this again. This is one of its tail vertebrae going into the rock, which means it's going to be a pain to clean it up, but it's probably going to be preserved pretty well.
It kind of just looks like a stain in the rock, sort of.
It kind of does. Here, let me try to find a good picture of an intact one. Well, okay, are we live again? Are we here?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my computer decided to die. Or at least my internet decided to die. Whoops. Anyway, so this is this is a cross section of the tail vertebra, I guess you could say. This would probably be one of these tail vertebrae up here. They probably look pretty weird, but that's because the tails of dromaeosaur raptor dinosaurs interconnected to form a stiff beam. That's part of how Deinonychus got its name, because its tail looks, for all intents and purposes, like a balancing rod you'd see in gymnastics. I'm just swapping earbuds because one is dying.
If I remember correctly, I think tetanurans in general had pretty stiff tails.
They do. That's actually what the name alludes to.
Birds are tetanurans.
Yes, they are, which is kind of trippy to think about. And then right here, moving on to our next dinosaur. These are some bones from an ornithischian dinosaur. Now, ornithischians are the bird-hipped dinosaurs, and yes, the bird-hipped dinosaurs did not give rise to birds, yada, yada, yada. Sauropelta is an ornithischian. But there is one other very famous ornithischian from this formation, which actually interacted quite a bit with Deinonychus, and appears to have been Deinonychus's favorite prey, or at least one of its favorite prey animals. Now, these bones right here are some of the limb bones from this dinosaur. Unfortunately, there's nothing here for scale, because I am bad at remembering scale sometimes. But these are each about 3 or 4 inches wide, so they're pretty chunky. And I will go ahead and put the game back on screen so we can welcome these new dinosaurs. Sorry, to address this in chat, the Venmo will say a different name. That is a name that I had to put in the system. But yeah, it will say a different name. But it is still good to donate to. If you don't trust it, you can always donate via super chats or super stickers. I just put those in the description because those options take a much smaller cut of the donation than YouTube does. YouTube takes about 30%. The worst of those down there take about, I believe, less than 10%. Okay. Anyway, Tenontosaurus. It's actually funny. I forgot what the name means. Whoops. Okay. So its name apparently translates to sinew lizard, as in tendons, I'm guessing, for Tenontosaurus. This is a basal ornithopod dinosaur, meaning it's an early member of the group that would later give rise to proper duck-billed dinosaurs. Tenontosaurus was about the size of a rhinoceros, and, well, it was about the size of a rhinoceros, but it was much more lightly built, and was probably pretty good at galloping like this. Well, in a straight line at least, not sideways.
I'm guessing, so kind of like the reptilian equivalent of a gazelle?
Or like a giant horse. Oh, and Vamsy Jessica Amanda again, $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Anyway, very big dinosaur, big plant-eating dinosaur. But Tenontosaurus is very well known for it being on the menu of one particular dinosaur.
Deinonychus.
It is hard to find a Tenontosaurus that has not been snacked on by Deinonychus. They're that well scavenged, or more likely than not, that well hunted by these guys. And I didn't have it prepared, but if I can find it, I have a picture of. Yes, okay. Sorry, I gotta do a bit of finagling to show the. Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, my internet is not wanting to be nice to me right now. So I'm gonna try to send this again, and hopefully it works this time. Ah, yes, there it is. I have found fragments from Tenontosaurus that show Deinonychus bite marks.
Ooh.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and pull those up now. And as I do so, we do have some more super chats. So Vamsy, Jessica, Amanda again saying from Emmy. So these are some family members of mine. They are apparently their dog sent a super chat. So thank you, Emmy. And Maya Adkison sends $10 saying, "Pretend I said something witty." I shall, Maya. Thank you. If you'd like to come on and ask questions about fluffy dinosaurs, feel free. I know you'll like them. But anyway, yeah, this is a fragment of a Tenontosaurus rib, and you can just see the scratch marks on here from Deinonychus gnawing on the bones, which I think is pretty freaking cool.
Those Deinonychuses, they won't leave me alone.
I guess they were hungry. Oh, also, we have a donation from I won't say their last name, but Lisa on Venmo for $5. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Vanity Jessica Amanda. Yes, if you would like to donate through alternative channels that don't take as much money as YouTube does, they're all linked in the description. They will all show a different name when they pop up. That's because it wouldn't let me register as DokDeino, so I had to use a different name. But yes, you can donate there if you like. You can donate here, or if you just hit like and share this with someone else, that also helps. So thank you to everyone who's been donating so far. It really means a lot. I set a personal goal for $50, and we have already passed that. So very happy to see it. Thank you so much. Let's see. I do want to talk a bit more about Tenontosaurus, though, because it is there is more to it besides just being Deinonychus's preferred snack, which unfortunately is about all the credit it seems to get in a lot of paleontology media. So I will say again, this was a big animal. This was bigger than a modern rhinoceros. Probably would have weighed between 2 to 4 tons in life. And actually, since it's walking up close to this building, you can kind of see just how big it is.
Oh.
This is pretty to scale. One thing Tenontosaurus is very well known for is a really long, really well reinforced tail, which on this model is a little bit shrimpy compared to how it actually looked. And ironically enough, from another game, is probably one of the best dinosaur depictions I've ever seen, which is kind of weird to say for the game it's from.
Is it Ark?
It is not. A lot of their dinosaur designs are pretty outdated, but this one is actually really good.
Oh.
And yes, it probably had a big, thick tail for extra defense. I already mentioned that dinosaur tails were used to help power their leg muscles for when they ran, so it could probably run pretty fast. It had a big, thick tail that it would have hurt to get hit by. And they were apparently very successful. Tenontosaurus is one of the most common dinosaurs found in the Cloverleaf Formation. So it seems whatever they were doing it really well. And their descendants, the ornithopods, would go on to become the most successful dinosaurs ever, not counting birds. Because, of course, birds have to be an outlier.
You know,
Yeah,
I think I know what one of them should be named.
Oh yeah? I'll go
Well,
ahead
they
and
have a long tail that's
put them back
super
on
thick
screen.
and could hurt you if you came near it. So I'm thinking Indiana Jones. I mean, his favorite weapon is a whip.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's kind of a fun name. Any of the people who donated prior, if you see a Tenonto that you like the best, let me know, and that one can be named Indiana Jones or another dino of your choice. Or another name of your choice. Let's see, I think Vamsy just commanded here can name up to 8 dinosaurs of their choice. Maya Adkison can name 2. And let's see who. Right, and the Lisa from Venmo can name 1. Andrew Christofferson says Indiana Bones. That's pretty good.
It belongs in a museum.
Also, this poor guy is just panicking from all the Deinonychus.
He's like, I haven't paid my taxes.
You know, he probably hasn't. But that does remind me that there is another dinosaur from the Cloverleaf that I would like to show off that I have found quite a few of. Including another one just the other day, which is really surprising to me. And I will go ahead and show the picture. So y'all might recognize this dapper gentleman sitting here. This is me out in the field at my site. And I am holding a chunk of a vertebra from a massive sauropod. And this is a chunk. This is not the entire vertebra. This is only part of it. But the dinosaur it's from is known as Sauroposeidon, or the lizard of the earthquake god, which is a very fun name. Let's just say that.
I mean, Brontosaurus means thunder lizard, so...
Yeah. And then, also, I can share, I am not alone in this venture. I am working with other paleontologists. I don't know if she'll let me say her name, but this is my friend who was there with me and actually was the one who found this vertebra. She just spotted it kind of sitting on the side of this hill, and we had a new giant sauropod vertebra, which at this site makes Sauroposeidon number 5.
Oh.
That's not very common. And actually, that is something rather weird about this site in general that I haven't shared yet. This major site that we're working on, that I'm currently raising funding for, we have found over 24 individual dinosaurs. We have found 8 Sauropelta, 5 Sauroposeidon, at least 1 raptor, maybe 2, and a bunch of other things that I can't talk about. Not that I don't want to talk about them, but I can't talk about them. That has me a little excited.
Well, I keep forgetting how weird sauropod feet are.
They are really weird, and this ones are actually very accurate. But yes, I've found 5 of these. Now, none of them seem to be complete. Whoa, camera went flying. Though some of them seem to be more complete than others. But I found at least 5 and maybe more. That picture I just showed was me and my friend holding number 5 in our arms.
Ah.
And we've found so many more. I'm probably going to be working on this site for the next year or 2 at minimum. Though fortunately, we're not excavating any of these guys this year. Well, this winter, knock on wood. But at any rate, this is Sauroposeidon protelis. Which, actually, I don't recall what protelis means. Name. Oh, okay. So protelis apparently translates to the greatest before the end, or like the penultimate. Because this was originally thought to be one of the last sauropods. Or, well, no, one of the last sauropods in North America. Because Sauroposeidon exists in this weird span of time just before all sauropods seem to disappear from North America. They're still going strong in South America and in Asia and Africa and even Australia, but they just disappear from North America, and we don't know why.
My guess would be that giant seaway.
Well, they still would have had plenty of food. We just don't know why they go away. And every other dinosaur here has descendants that remain in the area. It's just the sauropods. But
maybe.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking either there's a ghost lineage, or this is just another theory that maybe we have been finding sauropod remains from those layers where they just vanished, but we're misidentifying the remains and attributing them to different groups.
So that's an idea. And also super quick. Hello, Nanny. I know you're watching. Nice to see you. Anyway, that's an idea, but sauropod bones are very distinctive. They're actually weirdly distinctive. Even though they're so gigantic and heavy, in life they would have been incredibly light, the bones at least, because they're just filled with air pockets. If you've ever seen, like, you know the insulation you can spray in your house and it like puffs up? But then if you cut it, you just see a ton of bubbles everywhere? That's what sauropod bones are like on the inside. They have a tough outside for holding their weight, and then it's just honeycomb, which is, it's really distinctive, it's really weird, and in fact, the only other group of sorry, they're showing each other some love. The only other dinosaurs that get anywhere near that holy with their bones are birds and their closest relatives.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
So,
really weird.
so it truly is an unsolved mystery.
It is, although there are paleontologists actively working on it, as there are with a lot of issues with paleontology, but can't solve everything right away. We need time and funding
Hmm.
and fossils to solve those mysteries. And more fossils are appearing all the time, but funding is an issue that many paleontologists struggle with, unfortunately. But with all that out of the way, Sauroposeidon, really cool dinosaur. It is an early titanosaur, which, if you know anything about dinosaurs, you know what a titanosaur is, but just in case you don't, titanosaurs are the largest land animals to ever live. The largest ones could probably weigh over 100 tons, and were probably well over 100 or 150 feet long as adults. They were gigantic. Sauroposeidon is not among the largest titanosaurs, but it is among the more complete ones, and appears to also be one of the tallest. Putting the remains we have together and extrapolating from more complete relatives, Sauroposeidon was probably over 60 feet tall at the head, as compared to its close relative Brachiosaurus, which probably topped out at 40 to 45 feet tall. And you can just see it compared to that door there. Like, if you show people a size comparison of Sauroposeidon, it doesn't look real. But that's just how titanosaurs are. And they also have these weird proportions, even for sauropods. They don't make any sense. But they existed. And they were apparently pretty successful everywhere that wasn't North America. But there's a dinosaur that may have... Oh, well, these guys are starving. I gotta fix that really quick. I don't want them to die on me. Oh, they need tall nuts and forests. Okay. Let's give them a little sanctuary. Oh, yeah, and there's sauropods in this game, so they need mountains of food. Which, I mean, I can't say I super blame them, but whatever.
I mean, when you literally are creatures who, from the moment of birth, have to eat multiple times their body weight each day to reach adulthood.
At least a solid fraction of their body weight, yeah. But there is a dinosaur that I haven't found yet. I'm hopeful with this site. That hunted Sauroposeidon. And it is one of my favorite dinosaurs of all time.
Acrocanthosaurus.
Yes. So
One
what I'm
of the
looking up in
last of
this...
the Carcharodontosaurs.
I'm not sure how it compares to Giganotosaurus, but yes. So Acrocanthosaurus here is one of the largest predatory dinosaurs ever found, period. It is well within the top 10. It's within the top 3 for North America. I think the only thing from North America that beats it out definitively is T-Rex itself.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas T-Rex specialized in heavily armored prey, like ceratopsians,
Which
Acrocanthosaurus had its eyes set on a bigger meal. This is a sauropod killer. And all of the sauropods I've found make me really hopeful that we might find an Acrocanthosaurus with them too, or at least their teeth. Which their teeth are steak knives. They are living knives.
ooh.
They would have been incredibly deadly.
Do we have any like tyrannosauroids from the Cloverleaf Formation?
None at present.
Because I know we have at least one from the similarly aged one of the members of
See,
the Yellow Cedar Mountain Formation, Moros.
we do. Oh dear. Sydney Raptor for $5 says, a paid fieldwork instruction. Pack your rock hammer, Doc. Before you put your pants on, pack your hammer. Yes, Sydney, I do bring a rock hammer with me. I'm just really bad at setting things up for scale. Also, there's just a guy sitting on a bench right there. I'm not sure I'd do that.
His name is Felipe Roche, and he works for the DGSC.
But anyway, this is the apex predator of the early Cretaceous. And what Caden was just talking about earlier is a small tyrannosaur called Moros intrepidus. Now, this is a really interesting dinosaur, and maybe we will find one in older rocks. Moros itself is from a younger formation than the Cloverleaf, but it's always possible it was here. And actually, there are a few other dinosaurs we can include as stand-ins. We know that there were oviraptorosaurs, or oviraptors, from the Cloverleaf Formation. The one that, it was Microvenator is what the Cloverleaf one is called.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're just getting stand-ins, there are some ornithomimosaurs known from the Cloverleaf, although I don't believe any have been officially named. Or, well, no, there might be one or two. I don't recall at the moment.
If I remember correctly, the Cedar Mountain Formation extends from the early from like 130 million to about 95 million years ago.
It does.
Because like the Cedar Mountain Formation is also where Utah raptors from.
Yes, and the Cedar Mountain Formation is probably going to be split up into a different classification before too long. I know
like
that more than a few paleontologists are pushing for it. Just because it covers such a massive span of time. It really is too much for a single formation.
If I remember correctly, there was a formation in South America that was also split up. It had a bunch of pterosaur remains. Santana Formation.
I can believe that. Okay, so once again, these dinosaurs are not known from this formation, but they may have been here. These are a stand-in for an early tyrannosaur, Moros intrepidus. But for dinosaurs that we know lived here, let's see, these will be released once these guys are out of the way, and we don't get a camera for them. Okay. Are they coming out?
Oh no, they're stuck like those compies.
Oh no. Yep. Yeah, they're stuck. That's great. Can we zoom in? No, we can't zoom in and see them.
The
Well,
tree.
well, at any rate, there are oviraptorosaurs known from this formation, and a bunch of other smaller dinosaurs. And oh, this acro is eyeing up the. Well, I can turn on hunting, and maybe we'll get some hunting in here. There we go. Okay, now the carnivores will hunt. So maybe we'll get to see an acro hunting Sauroposeidon. Or maybe it'll go asleep. Oh, what? This one's all the way over here. I'm curious, is it hunting? No, it's just running. Okay. Oh, it was running to a feeder. On before too long. I guess we can follow a Deinonychus again for now.
I mean, I guess having bright colors on them isn't too far-fetched, considering some of the colors birds have.
Sorry, I think my internet cut out for a second there. What did you say?
I'm saying bright colors on like feathered dinosaurs like Deinonychus aren't too unreasonable, considering how many different colors birds have in their feathers.
That's definitely not impossible. Just those poor oviraptors. Just we don't have any known yet, as far as I know. That acro is running off again. It's weird.
Maybe the acro's scared of the Deinonychus.
Maybe. They do have terrible claws. Ta-da! But let's see, I'm not sure. I guess there is a little bit of stuff left I could cover with the Cloverleaf. The Cloverleaf is, as you can probably guess, during a time when the sea levels were rising once again. Oh, we do have a hunt. Okay, I think I cut out again. We do have a hunt. So I want to make sure to get this. And the funny thing is, that's not a bad hunting animation for what these guys were probably doing. They probably would have used those gigantic teeth to cut deep wounds in sauropods and bleed them out.
I once saw a clip from the documentary of Planet Dinosaur that depicted Mapusaurus basically just tearing off pieces of flesh from a living Argentinosaurus, but allowing them to keep moving, essentially like eating, like just taking scraps, taking what was equivalent to like a snack off of them.
Yes, that is a hypothesis. Also, I think this guy is squaring up with a Sauropelta, which I feel bad for the Sauropelta. But that is something called the flesh grazing hypothesis. Oh no. Well, I guess the acro is psychic, but it got its meal.
Oh no.
Whoops.
This is what happens when you give dinosaurs Sailor Senshi powers.
Well, no, that'd be one of the raptors.
Well, true, but I think Ray had psychic powers or something.
I don't know Sailor Moon. But at any rate, the Cloverleaf was somewhat coastal. Sea levels were rising as time went on, and in fact, the next rock formation on top of the Cloverleaf the Sykes Mountain Formation is very shallow marine. Before it becomes, let's see, I think the next is the Thermopolis Shale, the Muddy Shale, a bunch of marine deposits. And the area that these are deposited stays marine for a long time. Or it stays marine for a long time before it eventually becomes land again. And by the time it does, everything has completely changed. Gone are the giant sauropods and the allosaurids. Oh, we have another hunt. Oh, it's hunting. Oh, it hunted a Moros. It just flopped over and died.
Siluricide.
Yeah. But yeah, by the time we were back in land again, the climate's completely changed. The dinosaurs have completely changed. The next time this area was above land, it was the land of tyrannosaurs, big duck-billed dinosaurs, and ceratopsians. And there's a lot of mysteries in there that can only really be solved with more fossils and more field work. Which is why I kind of want to tie this up with saying, to everyone out there who donated tonight, or today, for the Aussies in the audience, which Sydney's here, I know there's at least one. I just wanted to say thank you. Sorry, I had to check something. Today we've raised about $65, which kind of ironic when we're talking about dinosaurs. But the more money we raise, the more time I can take off of work for field work, and I'm going to be having to do a lot of that in the near future. Because hopefully soon we're going to be starting excavations on some of our finds out here. And unfortunately, but excitingly, I cannot tell you guys about most of what we're excavating. So I hope you'll stay tuned to this channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe and appease the YouTube gods. I will be uploading much more frequently in the near future as we start to work more on getting these dinos out of the ground and getting them to a museum. Who knows? I might even start posting vlogs from the field. We'll have to see. If you guys would like that, do let me know. I can't give a full tour of my sites because there's some, let's just say, classified material out there. But they don't like each other.
We must both be males.
Maybe. But I have a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and I'm excited to share it with all of you. I'll share as much as I can. But, well, I don't want to get in trouble with my co-author. She knows where I live. At any rate, thank you to everyone who donated. It really does mean a ton. If you are watching this as a VOD video after it's done recording, links to donate are in the description. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.